I have to install it first before I can.
It's got an invisible.
Then I have to sign it.
I don't have time to show them that one yet.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6:30, and we're calling the order, Universal City Council to order. Second here, that's all together here. It's October 21st, 2025, and call for Quorum Check.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Here.
Councilmember Putt.
Here.
Councilmember Rubal.
Here.
Councilmember Shelby.
Here.
Councilmember Vaughan.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Super. Invocation tonight is going to be given by Ms. Putt, and then I'll lead us in the pledge.
And I have a guest. I'd like to introduce Mr. Billy Hill.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been asked to give the invocation, and proceeding, Lord, we do go to prayer, knowing that we're asked to do something that we must serve with a sense of responsibility, and humbled to where when you ask us to pray, you ask us to serve, we don't pray just for the Christians, we pray for all that are in need and within the sound of our voice. And my prayer is simple tonight, Lord, where when these beautiful people, staff, and council persons and mayor asked to serve, they too will serve all. That's just the way we are in America, and particularly in Universal City. 20,000 people that we have to consider and weigh all these tough decisions, and with the human element, figure out how to communicate back and forth. And my prayer, Lord, is to soften their heart. Again, remind them to understand that we're all in it together. It takes that special grace by you and that peace as you served all of us, children and non-believers. So my prayers for that only, Lord. And I just thank you in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the state of Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Be seated. First off, we have citizens to be heard, and we only have one individual that has signed up, and that is Mr. Josh Cortez. Come forward, please, and state your name and address.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Sorry, it's been a long day. My name is Josh Cortez, and I'm running for Congress here in the Texas 35th Congressional District. As you know, we are in a brand new congressional district, Texas 35, as of November 2026. That will be what used to be the top of the old 15th district, which is part of the big Wilson Karnes County, and now we will also be including part of Bexar County in the Southeast region. My name is Josh. I helped be political director in this area back in 2022 when it first flipped from blue to red. I was Monica Cruz's deputy chief of staff and her political director in this area. This is where I'm from Guadalupe County. Our family are 8th-generation Texans, and we've been here. This is our home. Our family have traditionally ranchers and servicemen, so have great awareness of the issues at Randolph and lack of force base. I grew up in the military environment and around the military adjacent families. I was a professor at the University of North Texas while I was working down here on the campaign for the Republican Party. And this past fall, finishing up a degree at Harvard, I was on the Trump campaign in Bucks County, Pennsylvania for the 7 days leading up to the election. So really looking forward to serving in this area. This is an area that I know. I've already had my meetings with most of the judges up and down the corridor and the city commissioners, and then now coming by to talk to city councilmen, was able to meet the mayor at the Northeast Partnership, where I was a guest of the mayor. And I'm more than willing to answer any questions in the background. A couple things that we're going to get ahead of is pushing more of our students to the ability to be able to go to trade and technical schools. There are new federal grants for that. And then also we have a water crisis, maybe not necessarily in Bexar County as much as these regional areas out here outside of Bexar County. In the next 5 to 6 years, with our water tables rapidly sinking and our wells going lower and lower, we need to get ahead of that as a water issue, and there is funds for rural federal funding for that too as well. So I have a couple different plans in the background and looking forward to talking to you all. I'll be here in the back, and thank you so much for having me here tonight.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. No one else has signed up for citizens to be here. We'll take that out, and we'll move on to staff reports. First one up is the Olympia Hills Golf Course Renovation Design Update.
All right, thank you, Mayor. So we do have our consultant here. He's going to give a presentation, give you an update.
Nathan Chris, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Good evening. It has been a long day, but it is evening. It's been about 2 months since I was here last time, and so I'm back to give you a progress report and let you know where things stand. Things were a little slow from the jump because we were trying to get good base map data. That data was a little hard to come by, but thankfully the GIS department with the city and then a local engineer who had done some work for the city were able to get us that information. So we were delayed by a few weeks, jumping off as quickly as we wanted to. But go ahead.
I can
Okay.
say next slide.
So I just wanted to sort of from a very high level discuss what we've been looking at in line with the scope of the project. This indicates the golf course, and if you'll click on, as you can see, that just some typical notes throughout the plan of the golf course. Within the plan, you'll see the lighter sort of white areas under the green. Those are the existing bunkers that are on the golf course. Currently, there are 86,283 square feet of bunkers on that golf course. It's almost 2 acres. It's a lot of area to keep up with, especially when you're challenged. You know, all golf courses are challenged with labor. You know, as minimum wages go up, and golf course work is not fun. It's not air conditioned. You know, so it's difficult sometimes to find people who want to go out there and do that. So, as part of a bunker renovation, one of the things that we look at are ways to decrease man hours spent in bunkers so that you can use them on other parts of the golf course that the public are really interested in, like greens and fairways and tees and things. So the brown indicates what would be proposed for that bunker. So as you can see there on hole 1, we'll just look up there at the green in the upper left corner. That's a typical situation where we would take that bunker, we would reduce it in size. We spoke a little bit last time I was here about the style of the bunker. It's much more user-friendly, not as much hand work. We can get around it closer with mechanical mowing. And then that other area is sodded back, so we're adding grass back into those areas. Again, overall, and you can see down there at the bottom of number 9, those were 2 very large bunkers. And we created an area that still has interest, that has some movement in it, that it'll be grass, it'll be mowed as rough, and not an area that has to be maintained by hand. I'll get into the numbers here in just a minute to kind of give you an idea of the changes that we've made, but if you'll go on to the next one, please. That's just in more detail, so you can see sort of the line showing the proposed grading, the difference in size between the old bunkers and the new bunkers. Much more friendly as far as maintenance, still aesthetically pleasing for the golfer, and still challenging. And you know, so we're not taking anything away from the golf course. We're just trying to make it better overall. Go ahead. So that's, see 1, 2, 3. The way the property is shaped, it's hard to fit all the whole front 9 on the page. You can see 6, 7, 8, and 9. If you would click, please. These are the holes back up around where the new houses are going in, up there by number 3, kind of up on top of the higher part of the property, and then wrapping back down and around. Again, some of this is a little inside baseball, but I wanted to show kind of the scope of where we're working on where we will be working on the golf course. Next slide, please. And again, this is the back nine. You can see the hotel out on the interstate there behind the 14th green. One thing we are taking into consideration, especially after the flood event that we had back over the summer, is these bunkers that we're going to renovate that are in the low area that are prone to flooding. We will be using a different concrete-based liner in the bottom of those bunkers that the sand sits on top of. So if we have another flood event, we don't have to go in and completely rebuild it. The staff can take out any contaminated sand, put in new sand, and it's ready to go. In the past, flood events have been really, really hard on those holes down in that bottom part. So we want to get it to where you can get it back up and operational as soon as possible. So the irrigation, we will be using the latest technology. We want to improve conditions, improve turf health, and another issue that we have out there is erosion from lack of irrigation sort of around the periphery of parts of the golf course. Can't keep the grass established due to traffic from carts and golfers, and we don't have good water coverage, so that turf can't stay healthy. As it begins to die off, then we start to have erosion issues under that. So improved irrigation will help us get rid of a lot of those erosion issues that we're dealing with right now. This just shows the layout. All those, when my son was young, he used to say it looks like a spider graph, but all the little circles there show you the coverage of the irrigation heads. There are currently about 800 heads on the golf course that will be replaced, so we have full coverage. And then we'll be adding some of those areas that I mentioned earlier where we're having erosion issues or perhaps the coverage isn't what it should be. And then this is the other side. So you can tell we will have full coverage across all those holes. This system is much more efficient than what's out there now. This 2 to 3 decade old system. The new system, much more efficient, uses less water. Which in turn will also use less electricity to operate the pumps. All right, by the numbers, right now there are 52 bunkers, as we said, 86,000, almost 2 acres. In our proposed plan, we only reduce the number of bunkers by 2, but we're making these large oversized bunkers smaller and cutting the overall footprint by about 2/3. This is much more in line with the size and style of the golf course, public golf course, lots of rounds of play. This way, it will help speed up play a little bit, but it will also reduce the man hours used to maintain bunkers. And again, those man hours can be reallocated to other parts of the golf course. The tees on the golf course, right now there are 92,478 square feet of tees. That's about average. But your par 3 tees are very undersized. There's only a little less than 16,000 square feet for those 4 holes. And if you go out there, you can tell just from the volume of play, those tees stay beaten up pretty good. A little less than 4,000 per hole. And then the range tee is 21,626 square feet. So we're going to go into those existing tees, we'll strip the sod off, level them, and then resod them back. We touched on the irrigation a little bit, but again, there are about 800 heads existing on the golf course. They'll all be replaced with the latest technology. This is beginning at the pipe going up, so the swing joint in the head will be replaced with a new control wire. An additional 80 heads will be added in these areas where we don't have good coverage now. We're starting to see erosion and poor turf quality. And then we'll have an option for 30 more, what we call field applied heads. So that's during construction, those heads are in the contract, and then we work with the contractor to make sure they're in the best place possible. It gives the city some flexibility to make the most out of the investment. The entire system will be controlled using the new 2-wire technology. And again, not to get too deep into it, but the old style irrigation system we have now, if you wanted to go add a head, you'd have to run the pipe to get the water to it. And then that head would have 2 wires that you would have to take all the way back to the nearest satellite field controller box, which can sometimes be hundreds of yards away. This new technology is more akin to landscape lighting in your yard, where you just sort of click in that light to it and you can get power to it. This is a 2-wire, it's in a insulated cable, runs in the ground next to the pipe, and every time you go ahead, you essentially just tie it into that system. It assigns an IP address to it in the computer, and then you can operate that head without having to pull wires all over the place. Copper's expensive, it eliminates all of that. And then the old heads can be pulled out and recycled. Tree management, right now we have about almost 9.5 acres of trees that need to be pruned and thinned. A lot of these are older trees. They're not in good health, so they have some broken limbs and hanging over in areas that could potentially be dangerous, and especially in a storm event. So we'll be going through that as part of this process and cleaning some of those up. And you know, that's it for now for progress update number 1. So any questions?
Any questions from the council?
I guess, Commissioner. Have you come up with a number for man hours saved and the cost benefit? The real cost benefit?
So that number varies from course to course based on a number of things. So we have public golf courses. Some municipalities have PTO that you have to include. Usually have pretty good benefit packages and things of that nature. We compare that to a private club, which may not have all the benefits that a public entity has to include. So you could say that you had to just put a number to it. It's not a savings, it's a reallocation. So every time it rains, right now, they have to go out, and I think we had in our report, we had pictures of them out there just pushing sand, trying to push it back up and make the bunkers level. Now, after a rain event, a normal rain event, you won't have to go and do that. The man hours you would normally spend on that, now they can go, maybe they need to clean up some things around some greens or out in the fairways, or there's some debris from trees and things like that that need to be cleaned up. So I hesitate to say it's a savings. It's a reallocation of those man hours. And the reason I hesitate to say savings is I have had clients go, oh, we can get rid of a couple of people on the crew. No, that's not the situation. What we're trying to do is keep from wasting valuable man hours, pushing up sand on bunker faces and things where they can be used in other parts of the golf course. So I'm not trying to dodge the question, but it's hard to dial in because it's not really a dollar figure.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, comments?
Let me ask it a different way then. How many hours can we expect to be able to reallocate?
If you go, so we're cutting like 2/3, and the staffing situation out there is different from really any other client that I've had. You have so many part-time staff members out there, and I think there's been a pretty good turnover this year.
I mean, if like how many hours you think per bunker?
Well, okay, so I'll put it to you this way. Let's say you have a normal rain event today with the bunkers that you have now. You could probably send a crew of 4 people out there, and they could potentially spend at least a full day, maybe even a day and a half, probably pushing up bunkers. Is that you're thinking about right?
Yeah, I mean, it takes us right now with part-time staff, keep in mind. It takes me about a week to repair these bunkers with my part-time staff, right?
To go through all 18 holes. So now, if you could have a normal rain event and 1 or 2 people could go around and then sort of touch them up without having to go, because if you've never pushed up sand in a bunker face, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's shovels, and you're pushing it way up on these high faces and trying to get it to hold. And a lot of times you do that, and then it rains again the next day. You know, and it can be a little defeating for the staff. But what would take maybe a week for a total washout of all those bunkers, you could probably maybe cut in half, or even less, given the square feet that we cut out, so maybe from 4.5 to 5 days, you might cut it down to 2 or 2.5.
It would help us with the backlog of anything else that needs to be done.
Exactly, that's what I say, it's not really a quote-unquote cost savings, although it is, but it's not a dollar for dollar because you're reallocating those man hours to other parts. So, maybe they can top dress the greens another time that week and get those and, the way they want them. Well, otherwise you have this rain event and now everything you had planned for the week is put off and you have to go and essentially go into repair mode for 3 or 4 or 5 days.
Well, let me ask this question. So on a rain event, how long does it take us to get caught back up to where we're not behind?
Just depends on the rain event, so if we're talking just, I'm sorry. I apologize. So if we have like the rain event that we had in June, where we got 9.5 inches of rain in an hour and a half, I mean, that took us 2 weeks. And there's even parts of the course that still are not prepared for that as well. But a normal 2-inch rainstorm overnight, where it washes all the sand off our faces, I mean, if we have that kind of a rainfall, even just 2 inches because of that property and the terrain, the hills, all that stuff, I mean, we're usually spending the first week, just that very same week of that event, just cleaning up cart paths, mud off of cart paths, and picking up tree limbs, those sorts of things, especially if we have trees that are down. And then we're getting into the bunkers, and the only way I can get bunkers repaired right now with our current staff structure, I have to give up what I would call important work for the golf course. Like we have to skip mowing fairways or skip mowing tee boxes, things that quote unquote bring the money out to that place. We have to skimp on that kind of stuff in order to get these bunkers repaired. So we'll piecemeal in those bunkers when we can, and that usually takes us about a week if we get a total washout. If we have like a 1/2 inch of rain overnight, sometimes we can get those put back together in a few hours, but it just depends on how heavy the rain be.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. Grace, thank you very much. Very informative.
Thank you, we appreciate it, and we'll be back before too long with the final package.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Now we're coming into public hearings.
Actually, it did have a staff report.
Oh, you do?
So can we pull up?
Blank.
Yeah?
It's a mystery. Let's see here. I take it it's Michael's.
Yes.
Okay. So, council had asked for a refresher on specific use permits. So I just wanted to give you that refresher quickly. It's fitting because tonight we have 2 specific use permit requests before you. So just from a larger perspective, from a zoning standpoint, so you have all the different zoning districts, different classifications, and generally different types of uses or similar types of uses are grouped together. So for example, the C2 retail district, you're going to have bars, restaurants, convenience stores, things of that nature. Okay, so they're all grouped together in a similar area. And that's broken down into multiple zoning districts: residential, commercial, institutional, industrial, and open space. And then all of those uses in our use table in the zoning code, they're either, each use, you can either, it's not approved at all, or it's approved. And then you break down the approval by it being permitted by right, which means that they can just go in, they can get a certificate of occupancy and open up. But some uses, by their very nature, because they're unique at that specific location, they require specific use permits. So I think the main thing that I wanted to emphasize is that these are somewhat pre-approved. They're not officially pre-approved, but they've already been considered when the zoning code, when the land use table was originally adopted by by city council. In this case, it was 2007 was the last major update to the zoning code. So those uses, although they're not permitted by right, they have already been considered. It's just that in unique circumstances, they may need to be, there may need to be conditions placed on them. They may not be approved at all because of life, safety, and health reasons, or the impact to adjacent neighbors, right? So what we really want to try and do is if we do approve a specific use at a certain location, we want to try and mitigate any potential impacts to the neighbors. That could be noise, light, different types of activities. For example, tonight we do have an oil change place that is looking to establish in town in a commercial district. It does require a specific use permit. What we did as a staff when we initially talked to them is we considered the impacts to the surrounding neighbors. In this case, there is an apartment complex across the street, but there's also a gas station right across the street as well, and some other similar type uses. So we try and address those issues up front at the staff level before they come to you and have that conversation with the applicant. And so, as I mentioned, these are unique circumstances. They've already pretty much been approved as a use. It's just, is there something specific about this use at that location that would prevent you or preclude you from approving it? If you haven't answered any questions. Yes, sir.
I loved how you stated that, when you're looking at these when they're combined, you're combining other used, other similar use aspects. That's a great point that you made. I like that.
So you were saying that, I guess the ones that are here tonight, is it because there is one of those situations, or is it just because they're in the table and it's not an automatic by right, so they have to ask for permission? So why are they here tonight, I guess, or not them specifically, but in general?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. It's both, actually. I think the refresher, I think a specific use is somewhat confusing because I think the best way to explain it is what it's not. It's not, I like that use or I don't like that use at that location. Or I'm not going to approve it because it's not the highest and best use for that location in my mind, right? In tonight's case, you have two different specific use permits being applied: residential, commercial, completely different animals. But again, I think the main point is you want to consider whether or not there are potential impacts to the neighbors that would preclude you from having or approving those uses. Does that not answer the question?
Okay.
So it's not, I like it, or I think we can get something better there. That's already been determined when you establish the use table by figuring out what types of uses would be appropriate for that district.
For my own clarification, may I ask, so what you're saying basically is both of these operations are authorized in the respective areas. But the question is whether or not it is actually the best fit for that area.
No, it's not the first part is correct, but it's not whether it's the best fit, because you're never going to get the highest and best use on every property in town, which is why we have several uses that could go there.
I used proper word, maybe the proper fit for that area.
Is it a proper fit for that area? Yes, and that's what you have to consider. So does it deviate from the normal uses in that area? And specific uses do not deviate from normally accepted uses in that area.
My apologies, Mr. Bose. Mr. Shelby.
That's okay, Mr. Mayor. If I remember correctly, we didn't used to do these a lot. In fact, my first go around on the council, we did conditional use permits, correct? And so this is not to bring in another type of thing that we have to explain, but conditional use was more geared towards this is zoned for retail and I want to put commercial or something like that. So this is zoned for retail, but we would put commercial services in. We would do a conditional use like we used to have for the old Whataburger that turned into a gas station, a car wash. and then that expired, and now it's back to retail. This is specific, this is staying in the original part of the zoning, but it kind of leans into a section where we have to do a specific use permit.
Correct. Yeah, and another point on conditional uses, also called special uses, not specific, but conditional use or special use, those run with the land. So the major reason why we changed that several years ago was to tie it specifically to that individual. The commercial circumstance is the best example of that, because if that tenant is granted a specific use permit, you may place conditions on that, and then when they leave, if someone wants to do the same thing, they have to come before you again. Because at that point, we'll have had time to determine whether or not those conditions that were placed on it were effective, and whether or not additional conditions need to be placed.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Michael, when you assess the impact of the special uses and so forth, how, since this is a tutorial for us, how do you do that as far as notifying the neighbors? Or in the case of businesses, how do you notify like businesses that are within the immediate area?
Sure, so for every specific use application, before they go to the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council, we're required by state law to send out neighbor notices to those property owners within 200 feet of the subject property. And so we do that with each application. We're also required to notify it in the newspaper.
Do you do anything with regard to businesses within the immediate area?
They receive a letter as well. Yeah, any owner of a property within 200 feet of that subject property receives a letter, and then they can ignore the letter, they can call us, they can email us, or they can return the letter and check whether they oppose or agree with it.
Okay, so the bullseye for your due diligence is 200 feet around the property for residential and commercial?
Correct.
Without consideration of the impact of, we'll say, a new business on businesses that are within 3 blocks away.
Yeah, so we follow state law.
Those people involved, or
Yep.
neighbors outside of your small target area don't get involved.
Yeah, so we follow state law, it's just 200 feet, otherwise it becomes arbitrary.
Okay.
Any other questions? Then we're ready to go into a public
Okay.
hearing. We're going into a public hearing now, and anyone who wishes to discuss the first one up is going to be specific use permit request for Valvoline at 460 Kitty Hawk. It is 7:02, I open the meeting. Have one person signed up, Josh Liver. Want to finish it off there?
Well, if I could give a summary
Okay,
presentation.
all right. I thought he was going to do it for you.
I'll give it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. Let me pull up what we have. Let's see here. Thank you. Yeah, the aerial map will work, and then the elevations. I'll pull those up. Okay, so jumping off the last segment, this is a specific use permit application for Valvoline at 460 Kitty Hawk. The location map is on the screen. And essentially, it's the hard corner at Kitty Hawk Road and Universal City Boulevard. And so it is right next to the Quick Quack gas station that is currently under construction. And then just to the south of that, the CAD Plasma facility will be starting construction in the next couple of weeks. So as I mentioned, this property is zoned C3 commercial services, and per the zoning code, a specific use permit is required. They will be, just to give you some specifics, it's a 1-story building, it's about 1,800 square feet, and it meets all the bulk requirements, meaning the setbacks, lot coverage, and height as well. And then, as you can see in these elevations, this is the side view, but the building will have brick, a mix of brick and stone on all 4 sides. Obviously, there are 3 bays. There's 2 ways to access the property. One is a right-in, right-out, co-located with the Quick Quack on Kitty Hawk Road, and then also a shared access drive off of Universal City Boulevard. They did make some modifications based on Public Works recommendation that they line up with the existing median on Universal City Boulevard. So we've worked out all the kinks on this property and this proposal. We did send out 10 notices, getting to Ms. Rubal's point, to property owners surrounding this property. We have not received any feedback, objections, or approvals. We did have one concerned comment at planning and zoning, but we feel like we addressed that concern. And so the applicant is here tonight. If you have any questions.
Any questions from
I will mention that planning and zoning did approve it, recommend approval 8-0.
Mr. Bell?
Yes, sir.
Michael, is this just going to be a loop place, or is it going to be a full-service auto maintenance place?
Just a loop place. Oil changes only. So again, Mr. Rubal, just to get to that point, it is specific use, and so therefore, if Valvoline were to leave in several years and someone wanted to come in and open up a full-service automotive repair shop, they would have to come before the city council.
Keep a protocol and everything else. Give the audience, anyone else would like to address this subject before I close the public hearing? And public hearing is closed at 7:05, and now it's open up for the council's comments and questions. Ms. Putt, I think you had your hand up.
How, are you the owner of the land, or are you leasing the land?
No, we're acquiring the land.
You're acquiring the land, and do you know how long the land has been up for sale?
So this property has been vacant since the beginning of time. And so I understand that there have been some potential users that have expressed interest in this property. Lidl was one of them, I think about 15 years ago. That did not
Right, I remember
go
that.
forward.
That's who we're acquiring it from.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So
I think I was going more towards when we approved the physical therapy place, where we knew the reasons why the land had not sold over the years. There were very specific reasons as to why the land had not sold. You know, I guess my question would be, how hard did the owner market this? I personally, no offense, that's a Pat Booker Road type business for me. I don't want Kitty Hawk turning into just mechanic, gas station, that sort of thing. You know, I thought kind of hopeful when Chick-fil-A came in that we'd kind of turn a corner. But I was just kind of curious as to.
there's one main reason why the market dictates, of course,
Sure.
right? But one of the obstacles has been the flight path at JBS.
Okay, explain that.
Right, and so this does fall within in the flight path, and therefore, they do have some say, and they want the Air Force, DoD would like some reduced, or the minimum amount of potential impact should there be a crash.
Okay.
So they do not want a lot of folks gathering at these locations, as you would have with a Walmart. Even though
Well,
it's
but we're right
street.
across the street from
But
one.
it's not within that zone. So it's a specific zone that is laid out by the Air Force, and this property falls within that zone. Walmart does not. So large gathering types of uses, they frown upon. And so we did, since I've been here, and I know that before I was here, there have been several pitches for different types of uses. We always run those through the Air Force. Some are acceptable, some are not. In this case, it was acceptable to the Air Force.
Okay.
But we have had some others that have not been. For example, a Chick-fil-A. It wasn't a Chick-fil-A, but a fast food restaurant, something of that nature or comparable. They would not allow that.
Interesting. Okay, so that's probably the main reason.
That is, I would say, the main
Okay,
reason.
that's, I guess, how I was trying to get to is why. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Bond?
There's a car wash next door that's in the works, but you said there was something else on the, behind
Yeah,
it?
so just to the south of both of these. So this was one larger lot that was subdivided into 3 lots. And so you have the Valvoline, you have the Quick Quack, and then just to the south, adjacent to Powers Goolsby, they are going to put a plasma donation center there, similar to BioLife.
Are there any concerns in proximity of those two businesses, this business and that business?
No.
Okay.
I guess one place changes your oil, the other place changes your blood.
Mr. Mayor. So when I see the plasma place down by the dog park, I mean, lots of cars, lots of people. How does a restaurant differ from
Yeah,
lots of
so
cars?
part of our due diligence from the staff level is to request the statistics from them. You know, what are their hours of operation? How many patients or whatever you might call these folks that are donating their plasma? How many per hour and how many employees? And then what's adjacent to them? And so we did that with the Plasma Donation Center, and we sent it to the Air Force, and it met their threshold. So that was also approved by the Air Force.
Thank you.
The BioLife, don't forget that's co-located in a couple of centers, strip centers. So there is multiple activities happening at the same time.
Yeah, most of the BioLife right there. Okay, thank you, Michael.
Sure.
Any other comments or anything? Yes, Will.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, applaud all businesses that are interested in Universal City as a home. That said, if we consider that there is currently an unoccupied oil change place within 1,000 feet, more or less, of the proposed site, and that there are 3 or 4 other oil change places along Tab Booker between Kitty Hawk and Coronado type thing. Has the development group in your section been able to assist Valvoline in doing an economic analysis with regard to the potential impact of these other businesses on them? Or conversely, have you shared this information with the other businesses on Tab Booker that are very similar and will be directly competing with Valvoline?
No, we have not done that at the staff level. The market will dictate, and companies that are chains and larger companies have their own market research teams. They know, for the most part, where good locations are with regard to competition, whether or not they'll be able to survive at that location. So at this location, we did not feel like it was necessary to request a market analysis for this type of use.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah. I struggle with this decision only because we talked so much about the development of our community and having too many car washes and too many, just trying to attract different businesses in, and that is a great corner. And I find it really frustrating that we're talking about putting in an auto oil shop there. I mean, that's not what I would consider to be an ideal use for a corner lot with the stop light. We have very few of those even available to talk about development. I recognize that it sounds like the big holdup is Randolph, which I respect. I know that's a critical assessment, but it's hard to have it be that corner. That's all I have to say.
Any other comments? Then we'll close this area out. And this is just the information only, right, at this point in time, correct?
During this meeting, yes.
Yes, yes, portion of it, because we got to make a decision later on this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
So we have a second specific use permit request for a duplex at 237 Park Lane.
Thanks, sir. So again, 237 Park Lane. This is an established single-family residential neighborhood. The homes are single-family homes that were built in the 1960s. There are several vacant lots throughout the neighborhood. This property here at 237 Park Lane is a vacant lot. There was a single-family home on it, and I believe it was torn down about 10 years ago, maybe a little longer. So what the current property owner is proposing to do is build a duplex on this lot. Some specifics about the duplex. Well, the lot is 7,800 square feet itself. The proposed lot coverage meets the bulk requirements, so it'll be about 38.5%. The lot width is 65 feet, so that in itself, just compared to traditional lots or other neighborhoods in town, a 65-foot wide lot is bigger than average on the whole. And so it does allow for this type of development at this location. 2 stories, but the applicant did express after the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting that they are willing to consider a 1-story duplex. Each unit will be about at least 1,000 square feet, 2+ bedrooms. There will be 4 trees planted on the property, and each unit will have the required 2-car enclosed garage, minimum of 440 square feet. We did send out 32 notices to property owners within 200 feet of the subject property. We did receive 1 return that was in favor of the proposed duplex, and we received 2 letters returned that were opposed to it. And at Planning and Zoning Commission, we had several neighbors who did attend and express their dislike for the proposed project. If I could get to the, I'm sorry, Maribel, I just want to pull up the proposed elevation. There we go. So this is a representative elevation. This is not this specific unit or residence that will be built. So he did provide this rendering as well as a proposed floor plan. Again, he's willing to work with the city to address their concerns. The outside exterior materials will be a combination of stone at 15% and hardy board with the remaining 85%. And with that, the applicant is here, and I'd be happy to answer any questions as well.
We do have 1 person that signed up for the public hearing, and that is Mr. Fernandez. Step up, please.
Good evening. I took my time to went knocking at doors and got me a list of people that are really not satisfied with this issue. I've been living in this location for 30 years. Very peaceful. Individual homes, not only get by far, but then we need homes. And the last thing we need is for people to start building up duplexes, because it's just gonna mess the whole. Right now, it's very calm, and like you can see in there, everybody's against the idea. So, I guess on the last meeting, a lot of people came and talked about it and explained the issues to include the next door neighbor. This new owner has shown not to be too reliable. And you can offer me the moon, but take me there and then offer it to me. So hopefully you guys make the right decision. We don't want it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. No one else has signed up for the public hearing on this situation, but the policy is that I would give any...
The applicant would like to speak, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
please. Please come up.
And he does have someone to help train.
They are here, either one.
Yeah, that's fine.
Ya, son cosa que lo que queremos hacer es una casa duplex para tener tener una buena vivienda ahí, que no representa que exista mucha densidad en la.
So what he wanted me to translate for him is that he wanted me to let him know that we're not trying to downgrade or bring chaos to the area. If anything, we're actually just trying to bring just a better home to that area. We want to bring families to that area. We're all family members. We're all military members. We own a daycare with 94 kids, so we're all about the communities. And we don't want to bring something that's gonna destroy the area or make it so that it's not a home or it's not a family oriented. I did just drive through and we saw that there's a lot of people that were playing volleyball. We saw people sitting outside having coffee in their families. That's phenomenal. That's what I'm used to. And that's what we want to bring there. That's the only thing. We bring in a duplex because it's a large space and we want to use that. We're only using a small part of I think it's 7,800 square feet. And we're only using 3,000 square feet. So it's going to be more green, more trees, more kids playing. There's not going to be any cars. I saw there was cars everywhere in that community. So we're putting 2-car garages so that the cars go inside. It's just all we're doing is upgrading the area. And we're not saying that there's a bad side of it. It's just we're just trying to be an example, not a nuisance. If that is the case, why would be a single home, just like everybody else got there? Because the size of the property requires a little bit more.
The same size of your property is the size of my property, is the size of every property in that area.
Sir, I'm sorry.
They don't
Sir.
differ on sizes. If you look
Sir.
at it, you can see it. So, you know,
Master Sergeant, I'm sorry, we're not allowed to discuss back and forth. You bring it through here and go back there. But you are welcome to answer some of his questions.
I understand that most of those homes have been there for how long?
Since the 60s.
Since the 60s. And I don't want to, change comes. And I'm not saying that we're not trying to be dramatic. And we actually, there were some neighbors that were saying that they didn't want a 2-story home because some of them, somebody saying that they wanted to sunbathe in their yard and they didn't want somebody looking over. Okay, so we understand that could be a nuisance. So what do? We offer something that was 1 story. It's a lot more expensive for us to do, but we're accommodating. You know, we're willing to work with the community. We're willing to work with the neighbors. And I understand that, you know, change it's hard, but everywhere in the area is changing. There's construction everywhere I see. We're not trying to make your property less. We're actually just trying to upgrade the area. And if anything it's going to do is going to make your home and everybody's home in the area, well, worth a lot more.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There is, before we close out this one session and everything else, if anyone else would like to address the council as far as the apartment and duplexes. If not, we close the meeting, public hearing at 7:22, and we will move it on. If a request that we take a 5-minute break at 7:22.
Finishing that thing before the meeting.
That's right.
It's only my second.
There was something about Plaza.
Mountain Jesus. It's all about Mountain Jesus.
And land that's been there since the beginning of time. That was so easy.
You're so bad.
That's what I signed up for.
I think it's really excellent. 12 years that I've been in city council with you. I think those 7 of those years. We didn't have this many bathroom breaks the entire time.
No, we did some stretches. Barrett was okay. No, I'm just saying Barrett was on those same councils and we didn't know this.
He's getting old now.
Yeah. Kidneys are telling me something.
Are we refreshed?
No, thank you so much, sorry about that.
I'm grateful for it.
7:24, call meeting back to order. Now, we're going to the next area, we're going into action items. First item up. Next is city announcements, city manager. Go. I didn't see you snook out.
That's good. She's quiet.
So,
I reopened at 7:24.
Okay, thank you.
And any
no announcements from the city
no
manager.
announcements tonight? Mayor's announcements, I've got quite a few listed here and everything else, but this will be shared by some of the other folks here because it has to do with some of the quick things going around town. Sad news though, council member Tim Brown from Church passed away this weekend. Suddenly, was not expected. More details to follow, and we'll keep you updated if anyone that cares to go to for services and things of that nature. We talked earlier about the pumpkin patch. It's kind of become a phenomenon within the social media era. We had they said 40,000 hits on one of the TikToks or something.
TikTok.
It's amazing. I think the big news of the week though is our little town. It was in the paper, said our little town. Got a Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A opened this past week and we had good turnout from council members out there. We all got to have the first bite. I really want to commend the work of the crews that's really putting the pumpkin patch on. I have heard all across town from different quarters, from different areas, from law enforcement, from personnel, and just people from downtown that don't even come to, first time they ever come here, and just happen to hear from the first city. But the amazing work that's been done, and I know Councilmember Putt and Fitzpatrick have really put a lot of work into it. I know one day Councilmember Goolsby was out there hauling hay and everything else out there. I really appreciate all the things that you guys are doing. Early voting started yesterday. Goes through next week, and please, if you get a chance to vote, please vote before election dates and avoid the crowds. Parking lot at the golf course is getting close to being finished, and that's going to more than double the parking space out there. And it's so big that we may even have a trolley just to run us back and forth to parking back there. And that's all I've got. And Ms. Putt, you started it, so you had Invocation tonight with you, and we'll come this way.
So one of the jobs I have with Pumpkin Patch is keeping track of students' community service hours. And we got real smart a couple of years ago, realizing we can't move hay, we can't move pallets, we can't move 30-pound pumpkins. So we've been using school groups and community groups, American Legion, Civil Air Patrols coming, schools. So I sent out my last batch today, and I was so overwhelmed. We have logged in 1,200 hours from students that have come to the patch to work. We still have 2 weeks to go. And that comes from 230 students who have come out, and they have come back asking for more. So that's my glory. Yes, the money's great, but the fact that we have all of these students who are putting their phones down, getting dirty, and working like crazy, that's my happy place. So I just wanted to brag. Thank you.
Mr. Bell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, thank the police department for adding the crime list to their monthly report docket. It it gives a little bit more idea of what's going on in the city. I appreciate that. And number two, Mr. Mayor, with regards to the police department, for the last 3 months, probably longer, the radar speed sign has been sitting in the same location on DeSoto. And we've got the street sweeper that goes by periodically and, and the always misses that patch. I'm not exactly sure what the objective of having it there for so long is. Certainly we have a number of accident sites reported that could use essentially some awareness of speeds. And I'd ask the mayor and staff to look into whether the police department just forgot about it in DeSoto or whether they don't believe there are other needs in the city to monitor speeds. And again, looking forward to the November meeting where we finally are able to discuss a little bit about the venue tax. I appreciate you putting it on the agenda. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. I think there's probably a whole lot of speeders on the facility lot. So I wanted to commend whoever it is that picks up the crazy animals around town. We had I have a group that tells me all their complaints every time I see them. They explain. This time they sat me down and said, I want to say thank you to Animal Control because they took 14 skunks and one of them pregnant away from their neighborhood. So it was, because for a while they've been mad about skunks. I was excited to see that. I have been a chaperone at that pumpkin patch, and not only do your volunteers put in a lot of hours, but you people in the tent put in a lot of hours, a lot of effort. It is amazing to see what y'all do. I was lazy. I sat in the air conditioner. They have an air conditioner for the chaperones. It's nice. But they were not in there. They were running around doing stuff the whole time. It was crazy. The roundabout's still a lot of fun. And then the last thing I want to say is with the voting, there are a lot of state constitutional things. There is an amazing website. I think I can say it because it's nonpartisan, the Texas League of Women Voters or something like that. It's nonpartisan. It tells you why you would or why you wouldn't vote for something. It's fantastic. Educate yourself and make sure you vote and if you want to. That's all I got. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Go Tim?
Yes. I was going to add one more thing about the pumpkin patch. I think it's important to note that the TikToks that have gone viral are not from people in our community. They're from people that have visited our community and were blown away by what we offer, which makes it special. And I think the one that's got the 42,000 votes talks about the fact that it's one of the most underrated pumpkin patches in the area. So that really says a lot about what our community has been able to develop, offer to our own residents, but also are inviting people to come in and visit and see what UC is about. So it is a special place. And then I wanted to let you all know that we had a firefighter that participated in a major competition in San Antonio this week and blew the competition away. It was a team competition, so it was Marla. She was such a rock star. She did so many amazing things. She represented UC in such an amazing capacity. She's been invited to participate on teams that travel, and she also has been invited to do some individual competitions. So we have a lot to be proud of in our fire department, but Marla really rocked it out this weekend. So if you see her, tell her congratulations. That's all.
Another to me, Mayor.
Mr. Shelby?
Thank you. We could always move that speed limit sign instead of Goolsby's house, since he doesn't have enough things flashing orange in there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, that's it.
That's not a bad idea.
Plus, I think there's a Mustang that parks there that might go a little faster than the neighborhood.
Could be. We'll close that out. We'll go to the action items. There's no consent agenda tonight. Action item number A is a resolution number 966-2025-5, resolution authorizing EDC project at Randolph Plaza Shopping Center.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is part of our storefront improvement program offered through the EDC, Economic Development Corporation. And so at this month's meeting, we had two applicants. One was the city, the other was the owner of the Randolph Plaza Shopping Center. They're looking to replace the tile roofing that they have. Basically, it's an awning. If we could pull that up to show you a picture. And they're looking to do a full replacement around the entire strip center. The total cost that they estimated would be about $52,000, and the EDC agreed to reimburse them once all the work is complete in the amount of $35,000. And so this resolution before you would just ratify the EDC's resolution approving that amount.
There it is.
And so this is the strip center where Hallmark is, and so all of that orange kind of hip roof tile that you see would be, and I don't mean hip as in cool. Historical. So Piggly Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly, that's what started it.
There we go.
Damage there is noticeable if you go by there, and the infrastructure is rather old, and my understanding is that the owner wants to make sure that he makes a repair that is going to be lasting, not just temporary.
Yeah, this type of tile, he can't replace this, it's not available any longer.
That's okay.
Any discussion?
Is there any way to improve the parking lot area also with EDC funds for that area? Obviously, it's a little bit of an issue there, and it would be more attractive if there were some more trees, easier parking,
Yeah, I think we can bring that up with the property owner, and I'm sure he'd be happy to come back at some point in the near future if the EDC is willing to reimburse a certain amount. So we can broach that topic with him.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Call for a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second. No discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Shelby,
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Putt,
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal,
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughan.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item B, resolution number 969-2025-6, resolution authoring EDC project, reimburse the Universal City Boulevard improvements.
Thank you, Maribel. Okay, so this is another EDC project that went before the EDC this month. They did approve the request from staff. And so there are two things. The reason why staff brought this to the EDC is that at 1980 Universal City Boulevard, which is the vacant property right behind, or to the, right behind the Mod Wash, the strip center, right here at the intersection of Pat Booker and UC Boulevard. The property, the vacant property, the owners, we've been in discussions with them over the years as to what could be placed there because it's off. It's not at the intersection. It's zone C2 retail. It's very difficult. It's rectangular. They've tried to get some, retail type of uses, but it just doesn't work. It's not viable. And so we pitched the idea of a food truck park, and they loved it. They ran with it. They put this site plan together. What you see are the red little circles. These are the fire department's comments. And so in order to facilitate this development, what we need to do is make some public improvements along UC Boulevard. And so what we would like to do, what we're proposing, let me pull up the site plan. There we go. So this is Pat Booker Road and UC Boulevard. If you can see my arrow, the mouse. There we go. Thank you, Maribel. And so there are a few things that we're proposing to do. One is extend the sidewalk. So there's a gap between where the apartment complex ends. The Ironwood is now called the Peaks. And so there isn't a sidewalk between that development and the intersection at Pat Booker and UC Boulevard. So we'd like to install a 6-foot sidewalk, 6-foot wide sidewalk, so the pedestrians can continue their path. And we're also proposing to install a fire hydrant out front, in front of the food truck park. There is a water main that runs along that side of the street. And then a couple of other things. One is establish a driveway, so a curb cut and a driveway accessing the food truck park. And then if you've been out there, you realize that there are 2 driveways or 2 curb cuts on UC Boulevard to get to the shopping center. The one closest to the intersection is dangerous. If this development came through today, it would never be approved to have that curb cut where it's located. It would likely be where the one that goes behind or adjacent to the rear of the shopping center is. And so we're going to close off that driveway that's closer to the intersection and put in a 25-foot wide driveway with an apron so they can still have access, their customers, on that side of the development. So they'll have access to UC Boulevard still, as well as Pat Booker Road. And so this does a couple of things. One is it will allow for them to increase the number of parking spaces on the strip center. And then the 2 properties, the 2 uses kind of work together. That is, the majority of the tenants in the shopping center are closed on weekends, except for the mod wash. And so the folks using or going to the food truck park will be able to park in the shopping center. So it's the same owner. The owner of the shopping center owns the vacant property behind them. They'll be able to add some additional parking, probably where the driveway is going to be closed off. And so we feel like it's a very good investment, and it's a good use. This is Midtown. We have an existing food truck park, as you're well aware of, down at the Aviation District. This is center of town. And so there's the apartment complex, which is a natural constituent base there for the food truck park. We have 2 new apartment complexes coming in, one basically kitty corner at 2280 Pat Booker Road. So by putting in the sidewalk, it'll allow for pedestrians to get there, as well as bicyclists. And then when people are doing their laundry on Saturday, they can go get lunch while their laundry's being done. And so the total cost that the EDC is requesting, our engineer put together engineer's probable cost estimate, and the EDC has granted up to $124,000 for the project. That includes a 10% contingency. That's it.
Any questions?
Oh, I have a few. I know we're talking about the EDC money for this, and if I'm stepping out of the lane on this, how far into the proposed food truck park are we?
Yeah, so this is a little misleading because this whole area here, that's the right-of-way. So all of this area is the right-of-way. So we'll be going into that property probably 5 feet.
No, I understand that. I'm sorry. What is the likelihood of that business showing up in on that piece of property?
The food truck park being
Yes.
constructed, built?
Yes.
Based on our conversations with the property owners, pretty strong. They are not only business owners in town, but they live in town. They want to invest in the community.
And it's zoned for that already?
It is zoned for that.
So there's no reason why it won't go in?
Well, I'm not going to say 100%.
Well, no. So let me back up. Is there anything that comes before P&Z or council?
So the agreement, the food truck park agreement, they have to enter into with city council with the city. And so that'll come before you. And so based on, we're trying to figure out the logistics, the timing, because we'd like to have the improvements made or completed at about the same time it comes before you.
But if we do the improvements and let's say we don't do the food park, did we just waste improvements other than the sidewalk?
No, I think you've done 2 things. One, provide the sidewalk, which is a benefit to the pedestrians in that area. And secondly, you've closed off that dangerous driveway.
Which is or is not, which one's the one you're closing off? Can you show me that?
Here.
That whole driveway?
Yeah, it's too close to the intersection, so you
I
have
agree.
people-
Oh, I agree.
So that driveway will disappear completely?
Yes.
So there's only a one-way out of that driveway then, at Hooker?
No, right here, on UC Boulevard a little further, because this is existing now, right here.
Okay.
And so they're just gonna continue. to
Come
use
over around the side of the building and then exit?
that. Right here. That's existing now,
Okay.
so it's just gonna be straightened. It's not gonna be at an angle. Right now, it's on an angle, which is dangerous for people trying to take a left. Because you have two things. One, you got that curve, so it's kind of a blind spot. So we'll straighten it out. It'll be, that'll help as well.
Is this a split with the property owner?
The public improvements?
Yeah.
No. So they're gonna be investing, I did not get the number, we asked them for an estimate. What we talked about without them actually crunching the numbers was somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000 to establish the food truck market.
How much, and I'm sorry, how much was the sidewalk improvements, the public improvements?
It'll be approximately $124,000.
Oh, that's it? Thank you.
Any other comments?
I guess if, let's say we put this in and it goes under, that doesn't proceed, do you think we set somebody else up for a future, something else there? Or is this gonna be kind of only for a food truck park?
No, I think you do have a small number of potential uses that are adaptive reuse. Coffee shop, I know we have a lot of coffee shops, but because of the actual coffee shop configuration of that lot, it's difficult in a coffee shop with the drive-through. It makes sense for something close to that, like use.
Sit down coffee shop.
Sit down.
A cafe.
The sidewalk seems like a no-brainer. I'm curious too on the fencing, is that gonna be probably removed? I mean, I guess we don't have to get a say on that, but
So, yeah.
the whole chain link fence that goes around that property.
Yeah, we talked about fencing. They're gonna keep the fencing and they're gonna replace, I believe we put it on the. So they'll keep a chain link fence back here and on the side. Over here, I think they're going to replace it with a wooden fence. But we wanted to ensure that it would be fenced, and that they try and keep that tree line. There's a tree line there between this property and the apartment complex. With a fence and the existing tree line maintained, it'll help, one, mitigate noise to the apartment complex, as well as light from vehicles. But they will not be open past, I believe they told me 10 o'clock. So this won't be a nightlife establishment.
Any other questions, Mr. Rubal?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Michael, could you, with your pointer again, show me where essentially Hero Boulevard is and where Pat Hooker is there?
This is UC Boulevard over here.
Okay.
And this is incorrect. This is the previous version. We're going to relocate the drive aisle here, where the monument sign is essentially.
Okay, and am I interpreting it, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 food trucks there?
Yeah, there are 6 food trucks and plenty of parking on site, but additional parking because they do own that adjacent property. And what we have talked about as well is we're going to assess the situation. If they need to work out a deal with the guy across the street, there's that vacant lot by the pawn shop, on the side of the pawn shop. It's just unused space right now. So they might be able to work something out if there's a demand for that level.
And basically, we're aware of the traffic currently at the light backs up all the way to Kitty Hawk. We are aware of that on that side of the street.
Yes, we are aware of that.
You know, so during busy times, that's a pretty difficult area to get into or out of that area.
Correct.
And
but no matter what type of retail use you put there, it's going to add to the traffic count.
thank you.
Any other discussion? Call for a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Goolsby?
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Sorry, I didn't do this ahead of time, but I'm going to recuse myself.
Okay. And Councilmember Putt,
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal,
Nay.
Councilmember Vaughan.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Approved. Item C, ordinance 655W 2025, SUP for Valvoline at 460 Kitty Hawk.
So this should be a discussion portion for the city council. Obviously, the applicant is here to answer any questions as well as.
Yes, sir.
Hey, sir, I'm going to recuse myself. Recuse myself, that's the proper one, right? Okay. Somebody gonna have to give me the right form there.
Somebody what?
I mean, I'm gonna need the right form to fill out.
I have it now.
Okay.
So, Councilmember Goolsby has recused himself from this discussion. Conflict of interest, I believe.
I was within 200 feet, yes, sir.
Okay. Then any other discussion? Yes.
Michael, I just wanted to confirm, and we had some misgivings about the property use, right? And so, I mean, it's not maybe the sexiest thing, but as you kind of mentioned, this is in the use, right? So if somebody signed a contract to say we want to develop this property, it's in the list, in what scenario do you think we should say no? Do you think it's just if it's an environmental issue for neighbors, or what?
Yeah, obviously environmental is a concern. So life safety, those are, if it comes down to that, if you're concerned about life safety issues, including environmental, then yeah, that should be part of the discussion. So what, does that apply here? I'll let you determine that.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Shelby?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Leading on that, not that I had a chance to pull up a relief map, which direction does water flow in that property? Is it down towards?
So down towards the, so we just pull up the map real quick, Rubal. So it goes toward the back side of the plasma. So down here, it all flows down this way, right towards
Towards the back of the apartment complex?
Yeah, and he charges a toll down here.
Yes.
No, it flows down here, and then it just goes into the library system.
Can we make it go more towards his building? Sorry. My general concern with putting, I like the idea that we're developing the property. It's been sitting vacant. I remember when Lidl came in, we thought we were going to get that, and that was very disappointing. My concern with is what will that building look like in 10 to 15 years? I've seen a lot of vehicle service type centers, not just oil changes, and they have a tendency to fade over time.
Can we pull up the elevations? Because it's a mix of brick and stone exterior. And so we did talk about adaptive reuse at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. You know, in the scenario where Valvoline pulls out in, let's say, 5 years. Obviously, who can use that building? Well, there's a
Very specific use.
Well, there's obviously, maybe Jiffy Lube can say. But what's something that we would like to see, probably won't be able to do that because of JBSA. But for those types of buildings, the roll-up doors, that's all the rage today.
Can you make that a bar?
That's what I mean, a bar, possibly.
Sorry, I didn't mean to plan ahead on. Sorry.
The Air Force already said no.
The paint's already dry. I mean, the paint's not even dry yet. I'm sorry. No, I seriously, I'm just trying to think long term. I wish every business in the city, and I'm going to backpedal a little here. I wish every business in the city that comes in a very successful life in the city. But when you normally look at a building like this, it does have a very specific use for oil change, right? And some service down the road. That's my major concern. And so if we've thought about some of the possibilities that in the event things don't work out, obviously we would even if you turned it into something like food service, that'd be a lot of work to switch it over.
But again, JBSA is going to prevent a lot of the uses that you would think of, so maybe a medical type use. Possibly.
Okay. That's it, thank you.
Do I have to read this to make a motion?
Just want to read that?
No.
Do you want me to read that?
Yes.
If you'd like to. Move to approve or?
Move to, after conducting a public hearing on the request for the special use permit for the property at 460 Kitty Hawk and receiving the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation, City Council has considered the request and moves to approve PC 627 and SU 031 to grant specific use permit to Valvoline Instant Oil Change to allow an automotive repair services use at 460 Kitty Hawk.
Second.
I see how you did that.
You did very well.
Thank you. I was doing good to that last sentence, I fell apart.
You fished him right into that one.
That's all right.
Okay, any discussion? And then, motion has been made and seconded, call for vote.
Councilmember Shelby,
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughan,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby recused, Councilmember Putt,
No.
Councilmember Rubal.
No.
That is a tie due to the recusal.
No.
No.
No, two.
An abstention is a no vote, the recusal doesn't. I believe it's-
Abstaining versus recusal.
Recusals.
Okay,
So 3-2.
so motion carried.
Approved.
I'm serious about following that water down that way.
That's what I was like.
See if we can make that happen.
Item Delta, ordinance 655X 2025 SUP for a duplex at 235 Park Lane. Call for a motion. Go out. Comments first. Okay.
No, that's fine. You can, if you would, sir, please do the motion first, but I do have I just want to add something, be
Okay.
consistent.
Now let's go ahead and do the call for a motion. Call for a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve so we can discuss it.
I'll second.
Okay. Now, Tom, and you wanted to add?
Yeah, just to be consistent, as we mentioned with the previous Valvoline request, both of these have gone to Planning and Zoning Commission. They made a recommendation for each of those. For this project, they were unanimous in not voting against it. Just FYI.
Say that again? On this particular
On this
issue?
particular,
For the Valvoline, they.
no, not for Valvoline, for the duplex.
Oh, the duplex, okay.
They voted 8-0 against.
8-0 against.
Right, yes. So now it's open for discussion. Mr. Shelby?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Who did you call me?
You did the wife. Well, you guys are like you're married.
Oh. Okay, I have a problem with this. Where is the closest, we have duplexes in the city, but they're grouped together in a little section. Don't we already have a?
So I believe the closest duplexes are on Bird, which is adjacent to the subdivision.
Okay, and there's a handful of them. I mean, it's in a group as opposed to 5 houses, a duplex, and then 5 more houses.
Correct.
Okay. My other part of the problem is this is an investment property. If we're putting a duplex in, we're not. I mean, my real property experience, 90% of the time, a duplex is not owned by the people that live in it. So this will be a house. This will be a house that's built and will always be an investment property. And I just don't think it fits the area of the rest of the neighborhood. You know, that's a short version of where I'm at on that, but I just don't think it fits.
Any other comments? Mr. Putt?
Do we have an idea what percentage around that area are rentals already?
I don't have an exact number, but there are several that are being rented out That was discussed at planning and zoning as well.
Okay,
I think one of the adjacent neighbors is renting from.
okay, thank you.
Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Clearly, from the documentation that's been provided to council, there are 6 properties within 200 feet that are, I assume, property owners who have objected along with the 18 that are on that street. And I actually took the time to visit that location, and it's a very community-based little offset of our city, like that whole area is. And I talked to a few of the neighbors, and I have to say that anything other than a single family home in that area is out of place. So, for sure, definitely not a 2-story house in that neighborhood, specifically in that area. Thank you,
Mr. Goolsby.
I'm gonna kind of pile on to what Councilmember Rubal said. I think it's a beautiful layout, a beautiful design, a beautiful idea. I just don't think it's the right location. There's nothing but single-family homes in that area. They've come out vehemently against this, and I can't see where that's a benefit to that community. I do believe that it's a great project. I just don't think that's the proper location. As you drive, as you said, as you drive around that neighborhood, you just don't see that architecture, that that scale in that location. I do love the design. I love the layout. I love the project. Just not right there. That's my thing. Thank you, sir.
Any other comments? Rochelle?
Yes. I was just going to say, when I looked at the numbers, it didn't feel like it was encouraging families to move into that. It felt more like a couple of single people or, it didn't seem like it fit with the thing. The house was too small to really support a family. So I do think that a single family home makes more sense there. And I did question on if any of it would be owner occupied or if they would both be rental units. I do think that makes a difference in what you put into the community. I did love the concept, much like Bear did. I'd love to see that someplace else, but just not in that area neighborhood. Thank you.
Any other comments? Let's call for a vote.
Councilmember Shelby?
No.
Councilmember Goolsby?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
No.
Councilmember Putt?
No,
Councilmember Rubal?
No.
Councilmember Vaughan?
No.
Motion failed.
Motion denied. Ordinance 361, AI 2025, establishing a multi-event temporary food license.
Thank you, Mayor. So this proposal is an adjustment to the fee schedule in the ordinance. Essentially what we are proposing is to allow for vendors who are attending the same event throughout the year to just get one license, one permit. That would cost $75. Currently, they have to get multiple permits. So the permit is only valid for 14 days. So if the vendor, for example, in Market Days down in the Aviation District, is looking to attend throughout the year, all of the events that are held for Market Days, they have to get a permit each time, which could cost hundreds of dollars. This would consolidate it, streamline it, make it simpler and less expensive for them. And so that's what this ordinance is proposing.
Move to approve.
second.
Any discussion? Go ahead, Mr. Ball.
Yep. So basically, unlike income fencing, you're proposing to reduce the city's income. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And basically, is there a reason why it would be such a drastic decrease in income for $50 for the year versus?
It's $50 per event for 14 days. $50 for 14 days.
For 14 days. So that would be if they were, participating,
So 6 times a year, that would cost them $300. This would be one permit, one time, $75 for the entire year.
Right.
So a savings of $225?
Right, a savings, but a loss to the city.
A loss to the city, however, I don't have the specific numbers as to how many. Let's just say it's nominal.
I'd like to interject in there. This was a suggestion from a local market that we had a few months ago. The event coordinator actually asked, would it be feasible to look at this? I asked the staff to look at it. Based upon, they were trying to do multiple markets on a monthly basis, about 6, 7 throughout the year. There was one individual, numerous individuals out there, all of them having, many of them having one-time use mark permits. There was one vendor that wanted to come back on a regular basis and made the statement that could they come up with a single price to cover the entire year. So I asked them to take a look at the feasibility of that. And they came up with this plan of actually being a food and beverage individual. I don't think the city's really losing any money out of it because the individuals would not be paying $50 every month to do something that they can get for $75 for the entire year, when they can go somewhere else and get and have their wares sold. So I think it actually is going to make us more money for the city in retail tax in the future and goodwill than anything else. I think it was an excellent solution the city had come up with. So just a preview of it. Yes.
I agree, it's goodwill. These merchants put a lot of work into these, and this is just encouraging them to keep coming back. Yeah, I agree.
Any other discussion, comments? I'll call for a vote.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Councilmember Putt.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal.
No.
Councilmember Shelby.
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughan.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Ordinance 620, 2025, amusement redemption machine update.
Okay, this is being brought to you by staff because currently the amusement redemption machine rules that we have on the books are very confusing, and I will give it to you in a nutshell. Basically, Maribel and me become the referee between attorneys. So you have two types of games. You have a game of skill, and then a game that is either all chance or some skill combined with chance, okay? And so the state law, well, let's start with games of skill. The easiest examples are those at Mr. Gaddy's. Those are, your claw game, skeet ball, because it's all based on your ability, your dexterity, things of that nature. Games of skill. Amusement redemption machines are partially or fully games of chance. And the best example is an 8-liner or a slot machine that you see in Vegas. You might also see these in other communities at C-stores attached to gas stations. They might have one or two inside. And so the point of contention is when you have someone who wants to put in an amusement redemption machine, so the slot machine, and they have a letter, a brief from their attorney explaining why in their legal opinion, it is a game of skill. And then we have the city attorney saying, well, I don't necessarily agree. I think it's partially a game of chance. Staff, good luck, okay? Then we have the inconsistency of application. So what we're looking to do is take this out of our hands as much as possible, right? And so we're looking to update the code and do a couple of things. So we would like to reduce the number of possible amusement redemption machines or slot machines to 4 or fewer. So the maximum would be 4 at any location. Right now you can have up to 25, okay? We would also eliminate the need for them to fill out an application, to get a permit, and to pay a fee. Currently, we have one establishment in town that went through the whole process, and it's a rigorous process, the application process, and they pay $500 per machine every year, okay? That's tracking for the city. That's, a lot of staff work at the end of the year to make sure that, one, he's up to code, doesn't have, background check, all this stuff. And then collection of the money. And then we're also suggesting that it will have to be located in a commercial district as an accessory or an ancillary use to principal use. Okay, so you can't just establish a game room with 4 slot machines at a C-store and take everything else out. It has to be an accessory use. That's pretty much what this is doing. So it's taking it out of our hands. It's basically confining it to certain parameters of where it's allowed, and it will free up a lot of staff time because we also have the inconsistency of application. I am pretty sure that a couple of gas stations probably have these that we're not aware of. Maybe there's a couple of organizations that might have these that we're not aware of. So this will grandfather the one establishment in town that has been following the rules for the last 10 years.
Questions? Mr. Bond?
I'm curious, when I read the ordinance, it talks about defining the machine, and it kind of says, well, it's either chance or skill, it doesn't matter, it's all this machine, right? Is that kind of the gist? But then there's no qualifications on those machines other than the 4, and then location, right? It's not like you can have the chance, but you can't have the skill, or you're saying you don't care what the machine is.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the legal arguments because both side attorneys make the case, and it's a legal game.
Well, there's I guess then getting into the 4 number or the limit. I mean, is there a problem with these establishments that we're trying to curb, or is it just why limited, I guess?
Because I made the assumption that we don't want to have large gaming rooms established throughout town. And if you limit it to 4, it's going to basically, apparently they're only going to be able to locate in, for example, a C-store at a gas station. Because they're not going to be able to fit that many in that C-store.
Okay, I mean, I like them not having it permitted. I like them not having to come ask you guys for anything. I'm a little hesitant about the 4 limitation. They might be a little bit too restrictive. Maybe we have a few more that they could be allowed to have. And I don't want to see my coin pusher go away that's at a bar that will remain nameless. That's all skill. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, it's the way you drop the coin.
Exactly.
I understand that. Mr. Shelby?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've been to, just out of happenstance, to a convenience store that had more than 4 of these, and that's a lot of people lined up in there banging away at those machines. I mean, that seems, more than 4 seems like a lot in most of these convenience stores if they were to put them in. So my question comes back to, so we're solving, I'm gonna ask you to repeat yourself again, just because I want to be clear. We're solving for the problem of we're spending staff time and lawyer time to argue over the verbiage in this current ordinance.
Yeah, whether or not it's actually an amusement or redemption machine.
And is the argument so they can not pay the $500?
Yeah, they don't want to go through the application process because they have to verify through a third party that the machine is actually what they say it is. And that's a scam in itself.
But it doesn't preclude us in any way because regulating is the wrong word, but addressing them if they are being used in an inappropriate way, because they're bait liners are not supposed to be out in cash, my understanding.
Right, and they have ways around that.
Yes, no, I know, but I mean, if we're not opening ourselves up on that end to where that could become more of a problem, or is that a state regulated?
Yeah, that's what we want to do is we want to kick this to the state.
Okay, so we stepped into trying to regulate this at the city level. We should be letting the state do it.
Yes.
I'm good with that. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Mr. Rubal?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Michael, since city is now not going to get anything, except the right to say that you can only have 4, why do we need them at all in any of the businesses?
Because we have a lot of people who want to place them in businesses.
So, but there's no syntax associated with it. There's no syntax associated with it, essentially.
The syntax, if you want to call it a syntax, would be the $500 per machine.
They're still going to have to pay that.
No, they will not. So there will not be a syntax at the city level.
Correct, so the city doesn't, essentially isn't going to regulate, is what you're saying. I mean, they're gonna say that they're gonna regulate it for, and there's no benefit to the city from them having these amusement redemption machines.
A benefit to the city, it may bring people into the C-store and they'll buy something else when we get retail sales tax on those other items.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Goolsby.
This doesn't affect my skee ball, right? If I do the skee ball and I get the ticket, I can go get the little stuffed animal.
Only if you play lefty, then,
I'm a lefty anyway, so.
so no, it will not affect the skill games. Will not affect Mr. Gaddy's. So the answer is.
Okay, I just, because again, I got a little confused the whole time. I'm just waiting for you to explain.
It is confusing for us. We have to go through this whole charade every time and figure out what it is and read the code. And it's just, it happens it doesn't happen enough where it's maybe 2 or 3 times a year. And we have to recreate the wheel in our mind of what the regulations are. And then argue with the people that it's not a skill.
So last thing, just to offset we're not gonna get $500 per machine anymore, but I'm sure we're spending way more than that in legal fees and staff time trying to make those arguments.
I would say it offset, it would be an offset. Or a balance. Yes.
That's zero?
That's zero.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I move that we approve ordinance 620, 2025, changing the number of machines to 6. That was a question mark, but it was a motion.
No, that's okay. The motion is on there to change the number from 4 to 6.
I can second that.
Okay, so that's second with 6.
Okay.
Any discussion on the 6? Call for a vote.
Councilmember Vaughan,
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
No.
Councilmember Putt,
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal,
No.
Councilmember Shelby.
No.
Mr.
Mr. Mayor?
4-2. No. Which is vote,
I
Laura?
thought it was.
Are you trying to mess with the numbers again?
No, it's 3. I lost
It's
track.
It's 3-3.
So the motion, so it's 3-3? Approved.
Motion carried, second reading will have language for 6 machines.
Good. Good call. Item G, ordinance 332, 2025, deleting coin operating machine ordinance.
Okay, this is in a similar vein. This ordinance would update our code to eliminate the requirements for coin operated machines. And I think the best example is a gumball machine.
I move for approval.
Sorry.
Yeah, I have approval, I have a motion.
Second.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. Gumball machines.
Yeah, so the city really is just riding off of the state requirements. We issue stickers when people let us know that they have them, which they always don't. So again, it's a code enforcement nightmare, policing nightmare. And by state statute, we're allowed to get 1/4 of the state tax. And so the state charges $60, we charge $15. But Maribel can attest to this, that there's not many. And so getting to Mr. Rubal, anticipating his question, yes, we are reducing the city's income, but not by a large amount.
I'm just waiting for you to make the turnaround on the in-kind fence repair, Michael. I'm holding every one of these words carefully, including the goodwill statement in my future statement. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I have a gumball machine at my house. Should I recruit
So
myself?
you're gonna have to get code compliance on
Just
it.
making sure.
You charge for it?
My kids.
Yeah.
Okay, call for the vote.
Councilmember Shelby,
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughan,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Aye.
Councilmember Putt.
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal.
Nay.
Motion carried.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming into the long stretch here. Ordinance 361, AH 2025, deleting fees for amusement redemption and coin-operated machines.
Really clearing out the books this time.
So this is piggybacking off of the last two ordinances, and this will eliminate in the fee section of the ordinance both amusement redemption machines as well as coin-operated machine fees.
Call for a motion.
Move for approval, and I have a question.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes. How much will we lose in revenue?
I will have to get back to you on that.
Is it more or less than $1,000 a year?
I would say less.
Okay, thank you.
No, I take that back. Incorrect statement. Other than the existing amusement redemption machine establishment, it's far less than 1,000 if you remove him from the equation. I think we bring in approximately 3,500. Yes, Randolph.
For coin-operated machines, which is typically what we're getting because nobody reports their amusement redemption machines other than that game room, we were getting around $700 a year. So that is pretty much what we're getting, and with the amusement redemption, other than that one game room, pretty much when I became city clerk and they started asking about the coin-operated, I started questioning the definition between coin-operated and amusement redemption, and that's where we started figuring all of this problem out.
So there aren't any additional amusement redemption machines in town that we're collecting a fee from, other than that one establishment.
Right, because that would only be 1.5 machines, right? From Mary Bell's report.
Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Shelby?
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Putt?
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal?
Nay.
Councilmember Vaughan? Councilmember Vaughan?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Sorry.
aye.
Motion carried.
Motion approved. Gentlemen, at 8:21, this meeting adjourned.
Actually, we're.
Circus is over.
Nice.
Agreement.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I like the bag, but it feels a little bit.
Yes, I absolutely. I've been-
Because it's a little wet.
I mean, the iPad, the surface is like.
Don't bad mouth me. Don't bad mouth